blast. Teenage dreams and neon screens. It was all rad, you know what I mean? Like, you know, it's like whatever, together forever. We're never gonna sever, laughing and sharing our stories clever. We'll take you back, it's like whatever.
Welcome to Like Whatever, a podcast for, by, and about Gen X. I'm Nicole, and this is my BFF, Heather.
Hello.
I might have done one too many F's that time.
I think you did.
Anyway, how was your week?
It was okay. It's tiring. This week's been pretty brutal at work.
Yes.
You know, with Black Friday. And
yes. For those of you that don't know, she is a postal carrier.
Yes.
So, yeah, be kind to your postal people.
Yeah. Clear off your porches. Leave your lights on. Don't put those stupid decorations up in the yard with the long extension cord that's hidden in the grass, because I'm on probably more than a few Ring cameras of eating it in the middle of a yard this fall, just because I didn't realize there was a... Yeah, we deliver early in the morning. We run packages early in the morning, and then we run them. Sometimes we're out after dark, so it's very helpful to have your porches lit and your numbers lit, and
Yes.
nothing scary in the yard, including dogs.
And an envelope with a little cash or a gift card this time of year.
I'm not going to answer anything to that.
No, and I'm not even speaking about you. My nephew is getting his Christmas cards ready for his customers, and he is hopeful for a little tip.
Yeah. And you know, it's not just us, it's all delivery, you know, Amazon, FedEx, UPS, all of them. And most of them are working after dark too. So it is. And a lot of times it's subs that run packages early in the morning and after dark. The subs especially are out later. So
they really don't know the layout.
No, I mean, half the time I don't know where any of my houses are either, but yeah, they don't know it as well as your regular, and they don't know if your dog is friendly, and you know, just because your dog is friendly to you does not mean, and in the dark, you know, your dog is a different dog at night when it's nervous.
That's his job.
It is completely his job. Yes, to protect.
And it's your
house.
job as the humans, the ones with thumbs,
if you want your package,
to make sure that your dog is,
because it's not like you don't know your package is coming that day. I mean,
right.
I know Amazon gives you 72 alerts that it's coming, it's on the truck, it's on its way.
Yes, we're down the road. Yeah, we're walking up. Here's a picture of it on your step.
We're opening it up for you and putting it together. Yeah. So, you know, just be aware and keep your dogs in the house.
Little PSA to start the show. This just more, you know, she's giving you some Christmas tidbits.
It's a rough time of year for delivery people.
Yes.
We're thankful for the work. You know, it is good because, you know, we could, the long hours, it's nice to have, the pay is better and all that. And, you know, this is the time of year where so don't stop ordering stuff. Because I have a lot of people that are always like, I'm so sorry, this will stop next week. And I'm like, no. Right. I mean, don't order 2,700 things, but one or two, preferably if it fits in your actual mailbox. But,
right.
Yeah. So how was your week?
Pretty good. Nothing super exciting, just more TV watching, which I'm very good at.
Same.
Good football this weekend. The Eagles won.
Yes.
Did you see Jason Kelsey riding around Philly in
the Mummers outfit?
In the Eagles helmet car?
I did see that, yes.
I mean, he really just is a gift from God, like, seriously.
I mean, yeah. He is Mr. Philadelphia. I think that they would elect him to, you know, be emperor president of the world. If they could. And his wife, Kylie, has the #1 podcast. Her first episode beat out Joe Rogan, so...
Well, she's adorable.
She is adorable. I know. I love her.
Yep.
They're a cute little couple.
They are. And then, so Gen X related, I watched the Yacht Rock documentary.
Oh, how was that?
I think it's on Netflix, or is it on Max? I don't know. One of the two. Well, I wasn't super excited about watching it because it's not my music, but it kind of feels like it wasn't anybody's music.
No.
But the thing that I feel like I learned from it was right before MTV.
Yeah.
So to me, especially being a former band geek, I felt like it was band geeks making music. Like it was all the smartest musicians. They just weren't good looking or flashy or personality wise, nothing going on. But they were all very, very good at making music, and they all just kind of worked off each other and with each other.
Right.
And it was kind of neat to see how intertwined everybody is. And of course, I knew every word to every song that they played in it. I'm like, oh, I don't like this music. Oh, well, let me sing every single word.
The place I work in, the concert place in the summer that I work, they have a night, and it's Yacht Rock. Actually, they do too. It's two different covers. Bands, and they do the Yacht Rock. Everybody comes dressed up with like captain's hats on, and
nice.
Yeah, it's nice. And I know and I'm usually like, oh, I didn't know that I did this song. Oh, I didn't know that song.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
And like Mike McDonald was literally in every song created back then. Like he was just your guy. Somebody'd call him up and be like, hey, or he'd hear something was going on and he'd show up, and there he is just sitting at the keyboard with his head down singing into the microphone. And I mean, he's just everywhere.
Yeah.
But he is very, very talented. But yeah, so while it wasn't really my thing and I wasn't excited about it, I really did enjoy it. That's good. It was actually very entertaining.
I don't think I watched anything. I have no idea what I even did this week. That's really sad. I feel like I did something important, but I don't know. They all every day runs together at this point.
I did also watch the John Benet Ramsey documentary, which we are not going to discuss yet because you have not watched it. But wow.
I have definite opinions on it, but I'm going to watch it. So
I had very strong opinions on it because I was at that age, we were, it was mid 90s. So we were in our early 20s and we knew everything. And we knew exactly who did it.
Yes.
But yeah, it was, learned a lot.
Yeah. You know what I learned today? I did learn something today on my podcast. I learned that the modern inventors of the lie detector machine also created Wonder Woman and her lasso of truth.
What?
Yeah. I learned that today on my podcast.
That is crazy.
I know. Google that sometime.
My mind is blown. I will definitely be Googling that.
Because I don't remember exactly the story of why it happened. Because they did one of the episodes today was the history of lie detector machines and why they're not reliable and
never have been.
No.
And they still use them.
Yes. They're not admissible in court.
Right.
But basically they use it as a threat.
Yeah.
So that it
and then it's public opinion as you guilty.
Well, and if you don't take it, mostly I think they use it to get you to confess to what you did. They're like, because you don't have to take it. You can just say no.
Yeah, because I get like massive adrenaline when I'm anxious. Like I get shaky, my heart races, I feel nauseous.
Always say no to the lie detector test.
Oh, yeah.
Even if you're not, just say no.
I have a lawyer friend. I was told you just always say no.
Just say no to everything.
And because once you say something, there's nothing a lawyer could do about it.
No. Are you ready to do this? No. I want to speak to my lawyer. That should be the number one thing out of your mouth is I want to speak to my lawyer.
Yeah, that's exactly it.
Yeah. What else happened this week? I don't know.
Well, they caught the young man that
they did that shot that CEO.
Yes, of United Healthcare.
They did.
It's an interesting story that's unraveling. It might actually be a documentary one day, I think. But for this guy was very smart. He was the valedictorian of his class at his private school. He had 2 Ivy League degrees. But I heard his mom had some sort of issues, and he has also had back surgery. So there is some sort of...
Well, that'll do it.
Yeah. Something there. But that's all they know so far. But yeah, I think it's going to make for a very interesting documentary.
I just saw that they had arrested him. And that the McDonald's worker snitched, and Burger King had to put a tweet out that said, "We don't snitch."
Well, I heard that the employee might not get the reward because they called 911 instead of the tip line.
Funny how you should mention that, because my coworker friend and I were discussing that the reward today. Mm-hmm. And it's because if you listen very carefully when they say it, it's for information that gets the person convicted. So just because you point somebody out doesn't mean they're going to get convicted. It's the evidence that they get to convict. So if you just say, hey, that guy looks like my neighbor, that's not convicting him. But if you're standing on the street when it happens and you're like, you're witnessing the actual crime and you say, hey, that guy looks like my neighbor, and then they come and arrest your neighbor, then you get the reward.
So it's all a scam.
Yes. Mm-hmm. It is. A lot of people.
I'm never snitching on anybody.
Snitches get stitches. I know that. That's the Italian.
If there's a better chance of being murdered for turning them in than getting the reward money.
Yeah. I mean, yeah. Although, yeah. No, I would like to... just because I'm confrontational and ready to fight any minute. No, I would love to sit on a stand and just stare somebody dead in the eye and be like, it was that guy.
Yeah.
And just, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like I beg every day. I'm like, oh, I hope I get carjacked today just so I can just be like, you picked the wrong car, motherfucker. I am tired. I am hungry and I want to go home. And you were going with me and you are not going to like it when we get there. But alas, it doesn't happen. So
maybe one day.
I doubt
a girl can dream.
I guess. Where I live, I don't think it's highly likely that I'm going to get carjacked in my little Nissan. So, I mean, you never know. There might be. Anyway, let's get down to it and fuck around and find out about not so very Merry Christmas movies. Because this is my week. Yeah. And I'm Scrooge.
Yeah.
But look, listen.
Okay.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
I have a genuine reason to dislike this holiday.
Okay.
And I have always had this problem. And I have always hated, even as a wee lass, I would have given up every Christmas present ever to not have to deal with Christmas at all. See, in my family, we spent Thanksgiving with my mom's family, which are great, wonderful people. Mm-hmm. And we would spend Christmas with my dad's family, who are the opposite of that. And they did not like my mom, and they did not like me, and they probably just really could have cared less for my dad also. Mm-hmm. So it was just, it was awful. It was, you would dread it coming like weeks in advance. You just knew. And like the whole Christmas countdown, it was just a countdown to
that day.
Yes. Just a shit show, horror fest. Just, they were just terrible people. And then the other part of it is I just can't stand the fake. Mm-hmm. The fake, like you hate me 364 days of the year, and now you're going to pretend for one day that you like me, and I have to pretend for one day that I give two fucks about these people gave me when I was 13 or 14 years old luggage. So that tells you anything.
Re-gift.
Yeah. And then one year she gave me one of those big things of makeup. Like, I do not wear makeup. I have
never have.
The only time I have ever worn makeup is when I wore my goth makeup.
Right. Black eyeliner and black lipstick. Exactly. And I doubt that was in the makeup kit that she gave you.
It had color change lipstick, and they're not good people. They did not treat my sister and I very well.
Yeah.
And it was we just did it for my dad. And then once we got older, my mom finally put her foot down and said, we are not going over there anymore.
But the damage was done.
And my dad would try and make us go over after. We'd have dinner at home after that. And then he would try and make us go. And then I was old enough to drive. So I'd be like, oh, I have to go to the movies on Christmas. So I would go to the movies every year on Christmas. So that's why I hate Christmas. That is why I'm bah humbug. And you would think, however, 30 some years later that I would have gotten over it. But
trauma runs deep.
I just can't stand the fakeness around it. Like, just because it's 1 month of the year that everybody pretends like they give a shit about somebody else. And
yeah, the older I get, the less space I have for fake.
yeah. I mean, I get it. If I had kids, it would be different. Like, then, because I know it's exciting for my sister. Well, her kids are older now, so she doesn't have to deal with that. But what I did one year to her, I bought her that damn elf. I bought that elf for her kids, and when they got home from school one day, in the beginning of December, I had set him up on the front step. And I didn't tell anybody that it was coming.
That's a really horrible thing to do to somebody.
Yeah, so my sister rolled up, and I got a text immediately with a, "You bitch." Real. I forget what they named him. I don't remember what they named him.
I'm so glad that wasn't a thing when my kids were small.
Well, and then she got me back because the elf couldn't live at their house in case they found him throughout the year, because he leaves on Christmas Eve to go back to the North Pole, I guess. So he'd have to come stay with me. And there's a really good websites and all that are like naughty elf on the shelf and like horror elf on the shelf. So I would take pictures of him like throwing up in the toilet with like my little tiny fireball bottles. So that's why I don't like Christmas. Bah humbug. I don't know. It's never going to change. So because of that.
Okay.
But it is Christmas. So I decided I would go with Christmas movies that you just don't typically associate with Christmas that are still technically.
I love it.
They're not. Some of them were released in Christmas time, but most of them.
It's the most Christmas spirit I've ever seen out of you. So
yes,
I'm ready.
Merry fucking Christmas. It's obviously it's going to be a little Tim Burton centric because I'm a big Tim Burton fan. And it is weird because he is, like, when you think Tim Burton, you really do think Halloween and spooky stuff. And he has an oddly large amount of Christmas centric movies. Like, when I was going through it, I was like, I never really thought of that as being, it's Christmas time and that. And,
right.
And my resources are Rotten Tomato, The Conversation, and my own brain. And I'm going to start with the most obvious of all the choices of this is actually a Christmas movie. Nightmare Before Christmas. So fun facts. Let me bring this over here. Fun facts. It was a 1993 American stop-motion animated musical fantasy film directed by Henry Selick. It was not directed by Tim Burton. He actually didn't have much to do with it.
Oh.
Yeah. I mean, he created it. He is it's his world. We just all live in it.
He's the artist.
Yeah. So Henry Selick it's his directorial debut. He produced but it was produced and conceived by Tim Burton.
Okay.
Of course, Danny Elfman wrote the songs because where you have one, you have the other.
Yes.
And he was the singing voice of Jack. The principal cast is Chris Sarandon, Catherine O'Hara, William Hickey, Ken Page, who just recently passed, Paul Rubens, who we know as Pee-wee, Glenn Shaddix, and Ed Ivory.
Okay, can I interrupt real quick? So
Anytime.
Catherine O'Hara just reminded me that I really do watch too much TV, because also this week I watched Beetlejuice.
Uh-huh.
Have you watched that yet?
I have.
What'd you think?
It was okay.
Exactly.
It was a lot of movie.
I didn't care much for it.
Joe hated it.
And I am one that I don't like sequels, but I love Beetlejuice so much, and it was original cast. It was Tim Burton. I was like, all right. It just at the end, maybe the last half hour, I thought was pretty good.
It was a lot of ideas into one movie.
Yes.
That never really went anywhere.
Yes. Okay.
I thought it was good.
It wasn't bad. No, I wouldn't say it wasn't bad. I would watch it again.
I would watch it again,
but
it's not like Beetlejuice where I would watch it 186 times and you know.
And Beetlejuice was barely in it even.
Well, yeah, I know.
It was all
Jenna Ortega.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And
I didn't know who you're talking about.
Yes, you do. Ryder.
Winona. Oh,
Yes.
Winona.
Yes.
I didn't know. I guess she was in it a lot.
Yeah, felt like it. Even Catherine O'Hara was in it quite a bit, it felt like.
That's true. Well, you know, Tim Burton likes to use the same people over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's why I thought it might work, but
he's a big fan of the same cast. I mean, obviously Johnny Depp.
Yes.
Is his favorite.
His go-to.
Yeah. But Winona also, I mean, Winona,
Yeah.
you know, she's well, we'll get to her later.
Okay.
So The Night Before Christmas is from a poem written by Burton in 1982 while he was working as an animator at Walt Disney Productions. He was an animator.
And a poet.
And a poet. And his book is really, like, I have a couple of his books of drawings. Yeah, they're really cool.
Neat.
It drew inspiration from television specials of Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, and the poem A Visit from St. Nicholas, all from our last episode. So if you wish to reminisce about that, take a scroll back into our
There you go. It's a little long, but I have the giggles, so.
Yeah, she did.
I did.
It's worth it if you're into that kind of thing.
If you're into giggles.
If you're into giggling and Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, last week's episode.
Boy, have we got the episode
is
for you.
little too much wine and
Just-
fireball last week. So he wanted to adapt the poem into a television special with narration by, of course, his favorite actor, Vincent Price. But he also considered other options such as a children's book. But in 1990, he made a development deal with Walt Disney. And it marks Tim Burton's third consecutive film with a Christmas setting. Burton could not direct it because of his commitment to Batman Returns, and he did not want to be involved with the painstakingly slow process of stop motion. Elfman said that writing Nightmare's 11 songs to be one of the easiest jobs he's ever had. He had a lot in common with Jack Skellington, as I do as well. I like his outfit. And I want to move to Halloween Town. So its production started in July of 91. Disney initially released the film through Touchstone because the studio believed the film's gothic tone would be too dark and scary for kids.
So Tim Burton did Batman Returns?
Yeah. He did Batman and Batman Returns. He did the first two Batmans with the Michael Keaton Batmans.
Love it.
Yeah. If you go back and watch them, you can tell it's Tim Burton.
Okay. I'll do that.
Now, when you know it's him, you can be like, oh, there it is.
Plus, I love Michael Keaton. He's one of my favorite actors.
Yeah. While initially a modest box office hit, it has since garnered a large cult following and was widely regarded as one of the greatest animated films of all times. And I read that somewhere, and it's not just my opinion. However, I do believe that to be true.
Yes.
But in 2023, the film was selected for preservation in the United States National Film Registry by the Library of Congress as being culturally, historically, or aesthetically significant. I know.
Wow.
The stop-motion figurine of Jack was reused in James and the Giant Peach, also directed by Selick, as Captain Jack. The film's soundtrack was released in 1993 on Walt Disney Records. The film's soundtrack contains bonus tracks, including a longer prologue and an extra epilogue, both narrated by Sir Patrick Stewart.
Ooh.
Yes. I'm not going to brag, but I do have the CD. For the film's
Humble brag.
the 2006 re-release in Disney Digital 3D, which I have not actually seen it in 3D because they never play the 3D around here. I'd have to drive to Baltimore or Philadelphia. Yeah. I mean, okay. A special edition of the soundtrack was released featuring a bonus disc that contained covers of 5 of the film's songs by Fall Out Boy, Panic at the Disco, Fiona Apple, and She Wants Revenge. 4 original demo tracks by Elfman were also included. I don't have that CD, but now I have to find it. On September 30th, 2008, Disney released the cover album Nightmare Revisited. That one I highly recommend.
That sounds amazing.
Amy Lee does Sally's song, and oh my God,
Wow.
it is just haunting. I mean, it is beautiful. Marilyn Manson, Flyleaf, Korn, Rise Against, Plain White Tees, and the All American Rejects all have songs on there. I want to say Rob Zombie does too, but I think it's just one of the instrumental. I'll have to check, but I think
that would be good too.
It is a really, really, really good. It's good. So what is The Nightmare Before Christmas all about? Well, it was a long time ago, longer now than it seems. I'll have you know that I did all this from memory too, by the way. In a place that perhaps you've seen in your dreams. For the story that you're about to be told began with the holiday worlds of old. Now you've probably wondered where holidays come from. If you haven't, I'd say it's time you begun. That's all Patrick Stewart's part. Sir Patrick. I won't go on with the rest of it. I have the rest of it written down, but I literally did do it all from memory. Also, I contributed greatly to the box office success back in 1993.
Oh, wow.
I probably saw it in the movie theater about 75 times. I had a lot of disposable income and not a lot to do in 1993. So, Jack Skellington, the main character, hails from Halloween Town and is the Pumpkin King, but he has seasonal depression and has grown so tired of the sound of the scream.
I feel you.
He walks all night with his little dog Zero. I also had a dog named Zero.
You did?
Until he stumbles on a ring of trees with all the holidays represented. Easy for me to say. He opens the one with the tree and boom, he falls into Christmas Town. He gets excited by the new sights and sounds that are everywhere and all around. And the emptiness inside of him is filling up and he wants it. Okay, I'm not going to get sued by this. I can only do so many bars with the song. This episode is not going to be Heather relives the nightmare.
Damn.
I promise. That's why I did it first. So that
get it out of the way. Move on.
So he then sees the ruler of this Christmas land named Sandy Claus. Jack steals a sleigh of Christmas garbage. That was, again, my words. And takes it back to Halloween Town because he is going to do his own Christmas. He has one of my favorite lines in it is just because I cannot see it doesn't mean I can't believe it. And not anyone, in fact, but me. Why, I could make a Christmas tree. So he thinks he's going to be able to make Christmas better. Meanwhile, his friend, in quotes, Sally, the ragdoll, has visions and knows that this is going to be just a disaster. Because why wouldn't it be? But Jack gets the whole town involved in the Christmas coup. He also enlists Lock, Shock, and Barrel to go kidnap Sandy Claus, and they first come back with the Easter Bunny, and then they head back to Christmas Town and grab Santa. Jack steals Santa's hat. Sally makes the suit. The town makes decorations and toys the only way they know how, which is spooky and scary. So it's basically all the stuff that I would want if I was going to decorate for Christmas. Yeah. So Lock, Shock, and Barrel takes Santa to the boogeyman, and he sings the boogie song, and that happens to be my second favorite song. Also, Pee-wee is one of the trick-or-treaters.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. The devil. Sally creates a fog, hoping to deter Jack, but he sends wee little Zero with his glowing pumpkin nose to the front. Obviously, The whole thing does end in a disaster because the army shoots Jack down and he ends up in the graveyard and sings my favorite song, which is Poor Jack. So after some serious poor meing, he also lays in that statue, and that's my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
After some serious poor meing, Jack remembers who he is and goes back, saves Santa from Oogie, and in the end, Santa has time to go back and finish Christmas. Jack and Sally have a moment on the curly hill and sing the other half of Sally's song, which is my third favorite song. but like I said, you have to hear Amy Lee of Evanescence sing it.
Okay.
It is. Yeah, everything. So that was my brief synopsis. And if you haven't seen Nightmare, I highly suggest you go watch it. Even though I keep saying I hate musicals, apparently I don't. And I'm just now finding this out. Even though, how many times have I said I hate musicals? So the next one in our Not So Merry Christmas is Gremlins.
Yeah, I saw this movie in the movie theater as well.
I did too. I saw this movie, and when I was dropped home by whoever took us to the movies, no one was home and all the lights were out, and we had just moved into this house, so it was still settling, like we had just moved in maybe 6 months prior.
Oh no.
Yeah. So I was scared to death that
Oh my gosh.
Gremlins were coming for me. Gremlins, 1984, fantasy, comedy, horror film. Howie Mandel is the voice of Gizmo, but the singing is Eileen Keyes.
Okay.
It's the same town set as Back to the Future. Gremlins is also half responsible for the PG-13 rating, along with Spielberg's other movie, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Yeah. One of my favorites.
Yeah, you can't go wrong with the indie.
Yeah.
The original Gremlin script was super dark. Writer Chris Columbus was inspired by mice in his apartment. Michael Winslow of Police Academy fame voices the Gremlins.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. I did not know any.
I love Police Academy too. You're just hitting all my favorites.
Because I can't have a minute without. Tim Burton was originally who Spielberg wanted to direct Gremlins. But I don't know why he didn't. It didn't say why he didn't. Probably because that would have been a whole different movie.
Yeah. You think?
It would have been a whole different movie. It is the first movie to have the Amblin Entertainment logo, which is the E.T. and Elliot on the bike in the moon.
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
It was supposed to be released at Christmas, but Warner Brothers wanted to use it as a summer blockbuster. And Gizmo was supposed to turn into Stripe, but they didn't like that idea. They wanted to keep Gizmo as Gizmo.
Oh, okay.
Because he was super cute, but he was supposed to turn to the mean. So, what is the plot of the scary Gremlins? The main character, Billy, his dad is a traveling inventor, and he's not doing well. He goes to Chinatown to an antique store, and he buys a mogwai named Gizmo. There are 3 rules that you must obey.
I remember.
And what are they?
I know that you can't feed them after midnight.
Yes.
I'm trying not to look.
Okay.
They can't get wet.
Right.
And something about food, isn't it? No, that's the feeding after midnight. What is it?
No bright sunlight.
Oh.
But here's my thing about the can't feed them after midnight. Midnight where?
Right.
It's always midnight.
And how far after midnight? Like, can you feed them breakfast?
Like, when the sun comes up, it negates it? Or, like, what happens?
Don't feed them midnight to 8 a.m.?
Yeah. Like that's very vague.
It is.
And it's always midnight somewhere.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Just like it's always 5 o'clock somewhere.
Exactly. So would you just chase 11 o'clock? You just take the poor mogwai across then you can feed it all at once?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That when I was we this is Joe's favorite movie. Like, he loves this movie. We have watched this movie 3,700 times. We always watch it at Christmas.
I don't know the last time I saw this movie.
We have not watched it this year yet, but probably because he hasn't seen it come across the
the guide,
the Netflix thing. But we have watched it 165 million times. So Billy's dad gives Gizmo to Billy, and Corey Feldman spills water on Gizmo. I couldn't remember what Corey Feldman's character's name was, and I was like, oh yeah, Corey Feldman's in that. So he creates a bunch of new mogwais because you can't spill water on them, and they spit out little fur balls. They wreak havoc and unplug the clock, eat chicken after midnight, and then they turn into gremlins. They're in the little cocoons, and then they come out. And Stripe is the ringleader of the gremlins, and they were mean as mogwai. I don't know why Gizmo was so nice, but
he was a defect. I
guess because the other ones were mean. Like, they were mean to him. They like hit him on the head, and yeah. And so my favorite scene of Gremlins is when the mom is in the kitchen and she beats the shit out of one of them and then throws it in the microwave and turns the microwave on and it explodes. That's good. That's good time.
Yeah.
So Billy and his mom kill all of them except Stripe, who sneaks away to the YMCA, jumps in the pool, and creates thousands of gremlins.
Oh, great.
Yes. They are violent around town and take over. They just wreak havoc. And they go and they hit the movie theater where they watch Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. And that part is my husband's absolute favorite part. When they're in the movie theater singing hi ho, hi ho. It's just, that is great. They got like 3D glasses on and oh man, that part is hilarious. Yeah, they're sitting there eating candy and watching the movie. So Billy, Gizmo, and Billy's crush, Phoebe Cates, because again, I couldn't remember her name in it, and why would I Google it? They set off a natural gas explosion that kills most except for Stripe, because apparently he's just unbeatable. So Stripe makes it to the Montgomery Ward, where he attempts to get in the fountain. But Gizmo saves the day in his Barbie Corvette and opens the skylight.
If I had a nickel for every time I saved the day in my Barbie Corvette.
Barbie Corvette to the rescue. So Gizmo opens the skylight, killing Stripe. And then the guy from Chinatown comes back and takes Gizmo back. And that part makes me sad because poor little Gizmo is so sad. That's so sad. But I do love that movie. I mean, it's a good movie. You should watch it.
Okay.
Oh, and also I read that originally the writer had Billy opening the skylight and saving the day, but Spielberg wanted Gizmo to do it because him driving that little Corvette across the... Oh man. So go watch Gremlins.
Okay.
In this Christmas season. For your Christmas spirit. Next one. Batman Returns. Fun fact about Batman Returns.
I already got my fun fact. I didn't even know that Tim Burton made that.
Yep. We're going to have a lot more.
That's crazy.
Burgess Meredith was supposed to play the Penguin's father as a nod to the TV series, but his health was too bad. So Burton picked a familiar actor, Paul Rubens, also known as Pee-wee. Also, did you know that Tim Burton's first directorial debut movie is Pee-wee's Big Adventure?
I did not, but I knew you were going to say that.
Yes. That's my favorite. If that had been a Christmas movie, man, that's the greatest movie. I can do that movie line for line. Back to Batman. Despite being set at Christmas time, the debate over whether Batman Returns as a Christmas movie has gone on since its release in 1992. Not only is the film set during Christmas, but the holiday also plays into the story in various significant ways. Gotham's public Christmas tree is a recurring element. Snow, Christmas decorations, and Yuletide songs are also around every corner. Moreover, the story twists classic Christmas tales with Christopher Walken's evil businessman Max Schreck standing in as the Grinch or Scrooge. Annette Bening was supposed to play Catwoman, but she got pregnant. And they literally wrote the Penguin character for Danny DeVito. Like, yeah. I mean, I can't imagine. I mean, I know Burgess Meredith played the Penguin in the original, but I mean, come on. Christopher Walken's character is named Max Schreck. Schreck is the name of the actor who plays Count Orleo in Nosferatu.
Oh.
So, but Tim Burton wanted David Bowie to play Max Schreck, but I forget why he didn't do it. Probably
because he's David Bowie.
Because he's David Bowie. Probably had better things to do with his time.
I don't need to be in your movie.
So the idea of the Penguin running for mayor actually did come from a storyline in the 60s TV show in the two-parter His Honor the Penguin and Dishonor the Penguin. Michelle Pfeiffer learned whip skills for the movie, and there was a mix of real penguins, men in penguin suits, CGI, and animatronic penguins.
Oh, goodness gracious.
Yes.
They just covered the penguin gambit.
They penguined it up. Also, by the way, Michelle Pfeiffer is my second favorite Catwoman.
Behind Halle Berry?
No. Eartha Kitt.
Oh.
I mean.
Yeah.
I don't think Halle Berry had the...
She's not tough enough.
And I just don't... And what's her name played Catwoman too? Anne Hathaway. Mm-hmm. I did not like Anne Hathaway as Catwoman.
No.
She's very pretty, and that's the problem. She's pretty.
Right.
She's not like...
Stunning.
I mean, Eartha Kitt just oozed sex.
Right.
For as much as you could not have that on TV in the 60s, Eartha Kitt just oozed. And Michelle Pfeiffer.
And Michelle Pfeiffer, too.
Exactly.
Like, she didn't even mean to be sexy, and she was.
She just...
Yeah.
They were cat-like. They were both...
Yeah. Exactly.
They just oozed sex. And, you know, I don't think...
I'll agree with that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So those are my two. Also, Michael Keaton is my favorite. He is my favorite Batman.
I love him.
Yes.
I do love Christian Bale.
I do love Christian Bale. But I feel like they're two different things.
Very different.
Yeah. So.
Definitely not a Ben Affleck Batman fan.
No.
Not a Ben Affleck anything fan.
No. Could live without him. So, in Gotham, two wealthy socialites abandon their malformed baby to the sewer where he is adopted by a family of penguins.
I hate it when that happens.
Me too. I want to be adopted by a family of penguins. 33 years later, he kidnaps the industrialist Max Schreck at Christmas time and blackmails him to get... He kidnaps Max Schreck at Christmas time and blackmails him so that he will get him back into the Gotham elite. They come up with the plan to kidnap the mayor's baby so the penguin can rescue him and become a hero. Schreck attempts to murder Michelle Pfeiffer by pushing her out the window after she discovers his plan about the power plant, which
But she lands on her feet because she's a cat.
Because she's a cat. Well, no. She falls off the building and like she lays there and she looks dead and then the cat comes over and is like licking her.
Oh, this is before she's Catwoman.
Yeah. This is how she becomes Catwoman.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't seen these movies.
I did watch this a couple weeks ago. This is all from a little bit of memory and a little bit of Rotten Tomatoes.
Little of this, little of that.
And I didn't want it to go on for 72 hours, so.
Okay.
It's go watch the movies. So she survives and becomes Catwoman. Schreck wants Penguin as the mayor to help with the electric draining plan, which is, I guess, the plan where they're going to drain the whole world of electricity, I guess. They frame Batman for the death of the beauty queen ice princess. Catwoman doesn't like that. Batman records Penguin's tirade, and he gets pushed out by the citizens and retreats to the zoo. Now he's going to kidnap and kill all the firstborn sons because he got shoved down the toilet. Batman and Catwoman find out who each other are because she attempts to kill Shrek. Mm-hmm. Penguin tries to take down Gotham with penguin bombs. Yeah.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Alfred overrides the signal, sending penguins back to the zoo, where they blow up the zoo. Mm-hmm. And Batman releases a bunch of bats and pushes the penguin back to the Arctic. Catwoman gets shot, but she has 2 of her 9 lives left. And Batman sees her silhouette, but only finds a cat.
Oh, yes. So mysterious.
Yes. It's a good movie. It is good.
Yeah.
I like that one. I like the first one. I like that one. I could skip the third one with Mr. Freeze and the Riddler. Mm-hmm. And then we go with the Heath Ledger Joker. Mm. Yeah. Mm-hmm. You can't beat Heath Ledger's Joker.
Yeah.
So my next very not merry is another Tim Burton.
Shocker.
I know. Edward Scissorhands. Mm-hmm. It was inspired by a drawing by Tim Burton that he did as a teenager. Johnny Depp, as Edward, says less than 150 words in total throughout the whole movie. It was supposed to be a musical. Gary Oldman turned down the role of Edward because he didn't understand the film. Huh. And the way it was, he read the script, it didn't really understand why this castle was at the end of the street. And then apparently when he saw them, he was one of the first people that saw it and was like, oh, I get it. And he said nobody else but Johnny Depp could have played that part.
Yeah, I mean, I'll agree with that. Johnny Depp was perfect for it. But Gary Oldman would have made a fine Edward Scissorhands.
Yes. I think he would have done...
Had we not known a Johnny Depp Edward Scissorhands...
I think Gary Oldman would be a solid backup.
Absolutely, yes.
I love Gary Oldman.
Oh, yes, me too.
Tom Cruise lost the role.
Thank God.
After asking Tim Burton how Edward went to the bathroom. Yes, in the suit with the scissors. Yeah. So Tim Burton was like, fuck off.
So he's as smart as I thought he was.
Yeah.
Okay.
But it was Winona Ryder who pushed for her then boyfriend, Johnny Depp, to be cast. Ryder was Burton's sole choice for the movie and was on board from the very moment the project was a go. Mm-hmm. He kind of made her career on that one. Like that was one of her first really big roles. And I mean, come on, Johnny Depp and Winona Ryder together is just like every goth dream.
Like, it's still sad that they're not together.
I know.
Like,
well, when that whole thing was going on with the Amber Heard, Winona came out and was like, no, none of that.
Right.
Like, I get it. He can be a dick, but
right. He
would never.
And she would know.
Yes. Winona forever.
Yes.
Winona. This was Vincent Price's last film.
Boo.
Yeah. The waterbed moment was one of the few details that was not in the original script and was all Tim Burton's idea. So one snowy evening, an elderly woman tells her granddaughter the bedtime story of a young man named Edward who had scissor blades for hands. Many years earlier, Peg Boggs, a local door-to-door Avon saleswoman, tries to sell at the Gothic mansion where Edward lives. He is the creation of an old inventor. Edward is an ageless humanoid. The inventor homeschooled Edward but died from a heart attack before giving Edward hands, leaving him unfinished. Peg finds Edward alone and offers to take him to her home after discovering he is virtually harmless. Peg introduces Edward to her husband Bill, their young son Kevin, and their teenage daughter Kim. Edward falls in love with Kim, despite her initial fear of him, She falls in love with him too. As their neighbors are curious about the new house guest, the Boggs throw a neighborhood barbecue welcoming him. Most of the neighbors are fascinated by Edward and befriend him, except for the eccentric religious fanatic Esmeralda and Kim's boyfriend Jim. Edward repays the neighborhood for their kindness by trimming their hedges into topiaries, progressing to grooming dogs, and later styling the hair of the neighborhood women. I wanted every one of those hairstyles. One of the neighbors, Joyce, offers to help Edward open a hair salon so he can support himself. But she attempts to seduce him, and he gets scared.
Yeah, she was nasty.
Yeah. Joyce lies to the neighborhood that Edward forced himself on her, wrecking their trust in him. Edward's dreams of opening the salon is ruined when the bank refuses him a loan on the grounds that he has no assets or collateral and is not legally a human.
So wouldn't Joyce have scratches all over her if Edward had tried to attack her?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Because remember when he cuts Kim's face.
Yeah.
Yep. I don't know this movie at all. Jealous of Kim's attraction to Edward, Jim takes advantage of his naivete by asking him to pick the lock on his parents' home so he can steal his father's electronic goods and sell them to buy a van. Edward agrees, but when he picks the lock, a burglar alarm is triggered. Jim flees and Edward is arrested. The police determine that a lifetime of isolation has left Edward without any common sense or morality, thus he cannot be criminally charged. Edward nevertheless takes responsibility for the robbery, telling Kim that he did it because you asked me to. I know. I love that part. Consequently, he is shunned by the entire neighborhood, except for the Boggs family. At Christmas time, Edward carves an angelic ice sculpture modeled after Kim. The ice shavings are thrown into the air and fall like snow, something that has never happened before in the town, and Kim dances in the snow. Jim arrives suddenly, calling out to Edward, surprising him and causing him to accidentally cut Kim's hand. Oh, it was her hand, not her cheek. My bad. Jim accuses Edward of intentionally harming her, but Kim, disgusted and fed up with Jim's jealous behavior towards Edward, breaks up with him. And meanwhile, Edward flees in a rage, destroying his works and scaring Esmeralda until he is calmed by a wandering dog. Kim's parents go out to find Edward while she stays behind in case he returns. Edward returns, finding Kim there. She asks him to hold her, but he hesitates, afraid of hurting her. And that's when he says, I can't. Oh, they know. Jim's drunken friend drives him to Kim's house and nearly runs them over. Edward almost runs Kevin over, but Edward pushes Kevin to safety while inadvertently cutting him. Witnesses accuse Edward of attacking Kevin. And Jim assaults him. Edward defends himself and injures Jim's arm before fleeing back to the inventor's mansion. Kim goes to find Edward. Jim obtains a gun, follows her, and shoots at Edward before grabbing a fire poker and beating him. Edward refuses to fight back until he sees Jim strike Kim as she attempts to intervene. Enraged, Edward stabs Jim in the stomach and pushes him from a window of the mansion to his death. Kim confesses her love to Edward. But they can never be together. And as the neighbors gather, Kim convinces them that Jim and Edward killed each other. So in the end, you find out that the elderly woman is actually Kim, and she had told, she says she never saw Edward again, and blah, blah, blah. She believes he's still alive because it snows every year, and it would not snow without him.
So precious.
No. Okay. So I had to do this one. And we literally watched this movie last night. So
it's my Christmas Eve movie, so I haven't seen it yet this year.
And we watched it last night.
I watch it every Christmas Eve.
It's Die Hard. Frank Sinatra had first dibs on playing the role of John McClane in Die Hard. Bruce Willis suffered permanent hearing loss.
That would have been really weird.
Yes.
Like, I don't even get that.
I didn't either, but he wanted it. Back in the, because it was, I didn't write it down, but I might have read it. I don't remember what I wrote. It was conceived several different times and almost done several different times.
Okay.
But this was the one that they did finally actually release.
Okay.
And the line, yippee-ki-yay, motherfucker, it was because Bruce Willis was just joking around. He was trying to crack up the crew and never thought it was going to be allowed to stay in the film. That was all Bruce Willis. The director, Jim McTiernan, and writer Stephen D'Souza have both confirmed that Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
Nice.
Narrative situation of Die Hard is a man returning to his family for Christmas.
Yep.
His wife is called Holly.
She is.
It takes place on Christmas Eve.
It does.
Not Thanksgiving, not on the 4th of July. The chief villain, Hans Gruber, explicitly invokes the Christmas spirit. It's Christmas time, Theo. It's time for miracles. He is a classic bad capitalist villain.
Yep.
The soundtrack features Christmas tunes, new and old, Run DMC's Christmas Time in Hollis, and Frank Sinatra's rendition of Let It Snow.
Yep.
Santa Claus makes an appearance in the form of a dead terrorist. The film ends with the title, the character, the film ends with the limo driver, Argyle DeVore White, looking forward to New Year's Eve.
Yep.
So the plot. I had to Google this because I don't remember this one too well, even though I did literally just watch it last night, but I wasn't really paying attention.
Every Christmas Eve, truly, for the last 17 years, I've watched this movie.
So, on Christmas Eve, New York City Police Department, Detective John McClane arrives in Los Angeles hoping to reconcile with his estranged wife, Holly, at a party held by her employer. He is driven to the plaza by a limo driver who offers to wait for McClane in the garage. While he washes up, the tower is seized by the German radical Hans Gruber and his heavily armed team, including Carl and Theo. Everyone in the tower is taken hostage except for McClane, who slips away, and Argyle, who remains oblivious to events. Gruber is posing as a terrorist to steal the $640 million in untraceable bearer bonds in the building's vault.
That's a lot of money back then.
Yeah. He kills executive Joseph
Takagi.
Thank you. After failing to extract the access code from him, and tasks Theo with breaking into the vault. The terrorists are alerted to McClane's presence, and Carl's brother Tony is sent after him. McClane kills Tony and takes his weapon and radio, which he uses to contact the skeptical LAPD. Yeah. Well, no big surprise that the LAPD. I'm never going to be in LA, so. Sergeant Powell is sent to investigate. Meanwhile, McClane kills more terrorists and recovers their bag of C4 and detonators. Realizing Powell is about to leave, having found nothing amiss, McClane drops a terrorist's corpse onto his car. After Powell calls for backup, a SWAT team attempts to storm the building, but is counteracted by the terrorists.
That's a funny scene when he throws the corpse on Powell's car.
Is it?
Yeah. Powell's like freaking out.
Well, I mean...
And it was played by, Family Matters.
Oh, yeah,
the dad from Family Matters.
I can't think of his name.
I can't either.
McClane throws some C4 down an elevator shaft, causing an explosion that kills some of the terrorists and ends the counterattack. Holly's co-worker, Harry Ellis, attempts to negotiate.
He's such a dick. I hate Harry Ellis.
On Gruber's behalf, but is killed by Gruber when McClane refuses to surrender. While checking the explosives on the roof, Gruber encounters McClane and pretends to be an escaped hostage. McClane gives Gruber a gun. Gruber attempts to shoot McClane, but finds the weapon is unloaded, and he is saved only by the intervention of other terrorists. Which, by the way, that scene, because that's where I started paying closer attention. That literally the end of the movie. That was an awful lot of gunfire.
It was, but I love that scene because Rickman talks without his accent. Like he tries to
does
sound
he?
American, and it's so bad.
I didn't notice that. Where did I leave off? And then, okay. McClane escapes, but is injured by shattered glass and loses the detonators.
Because he's in his bare feet.
Yes. Oh, I forgot to put that in the fun facts. But they created foot-looking booties for him.
Oh.
So, and they said you can see it in some scenes that they're not his real feet. But they're like shoes, but they look like feet.
I'm going to look for those.
Prosthetic feet, I guess, so that he didn't
looking for that.
He
this
didn't
year.
cut himself up. And I did notice when he was dragging his foot in that scene, I was trying to, because I knew that, and I was like, oh shit,
Oh, I can't wait.
yeah. The FBI take control. They order the power to be shut off, which Gruber has anticipated, and disabling the final vault lock so his team can collect the bombs. The FBI agrees to Gruber's demands for a helicopter, intending to send helicopter gunships to eliminate the group. McClane realizes Gruber plans to blow the roof to kill the hostages and fake his team's death. Carl, enraged by Tony's death, attacks McClane and is seemingly killed. Gruber sees a news report by Richard Thornberg on McClane's children and deduces that he is Holly's husband. The hostages are taken to the roof while Gruber keeps Holly with him. McClane drives the hostages from the roof just before Gruber detonates it and destroys the approaching FBI helicopter. Meanwhile, Theo retrieves an escape vehicle from the parking garage, but is knocked out by Argyle, who has been following events on the limo's CB radio. A weary and battered McClane finds Holly with Gruber and his remaining henchmen. McClane surrenders to Gruber and is about to be shot, but grabs his concealed service pistol taped to his back and uses his last 2 bullets to wound Gruber and kill his accomplice. Gruber crashes through a window, but grabs onto Holly's wristwatch and makes a last-ditch attempt to kill the pair. McClane unclasps the watch, and Gruber falls to his death. Outside, Carl ambushes McClane and Holly, but is shot dead by Powell. Holly punches Thornburg when he attempts to interview McClane. Argyle crashes through the parking garage door in the limo and drives McClane and Holly away together.
And there's something about when Alan Rickman falls out of that window. I want to say, like, he really did fall, and there was like one of those big blow up things or something. And it was the first take, and that was his face, like when it first happened.
I did read that. I did read something about he didn't know or something like that was about to happen, and that his actual reaction.
Yeah, and it was the first take.
Yeah, I did read something about that. So that was my not so merry Christmas movies.
Very cool.
Thanks.
And in preparation for, you did a great job, by the
Thanks.
way. Thank you so much. That was very entertaining.
Go watch all of these movies because, I mean, really, if you haven't watched them in a while, especially Gremlins. I mean, if you haven't watched
I'm going to watch Gremlins again
in a while, it does actually hold up. The puppets are actually pretty good, and you know, it really holds up.
Yeah, I'm excited to watch it. But I went on to Facebook earlier today, and I put out there asking people to give us some ideas of some other Christmas movies. So I'm just real quick going to run through the list of what we got. We did get some good picks. We had Paul who picked Goodfellas. And I did look up, I tried to do a little research so that I knew something about all these. And I don't think I did anything for, I mean, I did. I remember looking at it, but now I have no idea where it is.
Guess I don't really remember Goodfellas too much.
Well, there was something I think with Ray Liotta coming home and his kids were there and his wife and the Christmas tree and they dance around and shoot, I don't remember what the other ones were. But anyway, I think the majority of us have seen Goodfellas, so you can figure that out.
Yeah.
Let's see. We had Abigail who went with Eyes Wide Shut, which is a 1999 thriller, erotic thriller with Tom Cruise and Nicole Kidman, which I guess takes place around Christmas time. I never saw this movie.
It's a masquerade, I do believe. I don't know. I watched it and it was very difficult for me to follow and it's Tom Cruise
Yeah.
and Nicole Kidman, and that's
Exactly.
pretty much where my
For real. We had Khalid mention Gremlins, which we did in the show. Devin had talked about Black Christmas, which I had never heard of. I looked it up. It's a 1974 slasher horror movie.
I was gonna do that. I had it on the list.
Did you?
I did. But
have you seen it?
I haven't, and that was one of the reasons why I didn't, because I couldn't find it on.
Yeah, I'm gonna look for it. I was telling my husband about it. So a quick description: as winter breaks, a group of sorority sisters. So 1974 slasher sorority sisters.
I love it already.
What exactly? What could go wrong? So it's got Olivia Hussey in it, which I don't know if I remember her, but Margot Kidder, I definitely know. They receive an anonymous phone call. One of the girls is egging the caller on, but then it starts to get threatening. So one of the other girls goes missing, and a local adolescent girl is murdered, leading the girls to suspect a serial killer is on the loose. But no one realizes how near the culprit is. Yeah, it's got 71% on
I know
ripe tomatoes, so it can't be that
so
bad.
when I was doing it, I did, yeah. I saw that one. There was a couple others. There's some really good Christmas horror movies, but most of them were not Gen X-y enough.
Right.
Because I was going to do just Christmas horror movies.
Right.
But I think all the really good ones are like in the 2000s. And the, Terrifier? That one is, I think, Christmas related. And that's now.
Right.
And then Krampus. I was going to do Krampus.
Of course, yeah. Let's see. We had Patrina, who said all the Harry Potter movies have Christmas of some sort. There's a Christmas scene in each one of them.
I have never watched a Harry Potter movie.
Oh, okay. Patrina likes them, so don't be mean.
I'm not going to be mean. I've just never, not my cup of tea.
And then Freddie, he actually pointed out to me, his pick was It's a Wonderful Life. And I was like, that's an odd pick. So I Googled it. And actually the director, let's see, he did not intend it to be a Christmas movie. So the little blurb I found about it here says, though It's a Wonderful Life has become inextricably linked to the Christmas holiday season, the film's director, Frank Capra, didn't think it was a holiday film at all. Capra, who had previously worked with Jimmy Stewart on 2 other films, saw the movie as an examination of the individual's belief in itself, as reported by the Wall Street Journal. In that same interview, Capra noted, I didn't even think of it as a Christmas story when I first ran across it. I just liked the idea. So, was it meant to be a Christmas movie? Although, I mean, it's pretty Christmassy.
Isn't that the one where they ring the bell, and every time you ring a bell, an angel gets its wings?
Gets her wings, yeah.
Okay.
An angel gets her wings.
It seems pretty Christmassy. I've never seen it. So, but.
Freddie also brought up Planes, Trains, and Automobiles, which is one of my favorites, and I have actually had here to kind of talk about, but we keep running our mouths too long, and I've not had a chance, so maybe next year. Anyway, then Doug picked Mixed Nuts, which, I mean, it looked Christmassy, but I had never heard of it, and it had Steve Martin in it. Some other people that I really like.
I don't remember that one.
I can't find that one either. Yeah, I didn't remember it, but I don't know. Oh, wait, here I found
This is how prepared we were.
Yeah, Goodfellas. That's what it is. That's what I found, the Goodfellas. There's several Christmas moments in this gangster movie. Frosty the Snowman plays in the background. Conway berates Johnny Roast Beef for buying a flashy car when he was told to keep a low profile. There's always one. There's always one.
Yes.
And then Hill can be seen at home with his wife and 2 daughters coming home to a white Christmas tree.
Wow.
Okay, so I found
Is
that.
that an Italian thing? Because my mom's family had a white Christmas tree.
Probably.
And then
It sounds about right.
the other people had the old, the old 70s, 60s, like tinfoil trees.
Ugh.
Yeah. And then the light was in front of it and it changed colors.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, they had that.
That sounds so tacky.
It was.
Okay.
Tinfoil trees.
Yeah. Andy had mentioned Trading Places, which also has some scenes in Christmas. That one has what is it, Gene Wilder and
Yeah.
Eddie Murphy? No.
Richard Pryor.
Yeah. And then Paul mentioned Friday After Next, which is the sequel to Friday. And there was actually a lot in that one. Actually, part of the cover looked kind of Christmassy. But Santa Claus breaks into Craig and Day Day's apartment, and Craig tries to fend him off, trying to wake up Day Day. The robber escapes with all the Christmas presents and the rent money. And then they file a police report, and it all just kind of goes from there. But that one kind of made me want to watch that one too.
Yeah.
Those movies are so funny. And then another one that I had thought of, or no, somebody else mentioned Better Off Dead. Did I not write it down? Sorry, whoever said Better Off Dead, I forgot to write it down. That's one of the movies I really love too. So that has a Christmas part in it because somebody gets dumped around Christmas time. I don't know. I read about it earlier. And the last one, which I would not consider, well, I mean, I guess maybe one of my favorites, When Harry Met Sally. And that takes place all over the place, but part of it is Christmas and New Year's. Mostly New Year's, though.
Yeah.
Like, I think more of it's about New Year's than...
Was that in New York, right?
Yeah, that's the very end of it, is him running to her at the New Year's Eve party.
Right. I mean, I guess a lot of people just, when you think of Christmas time, you really think of New York City.
All the holidays. Yeah, and everything around it, Thanksgiving, New Year's, all that. So, yeah, so that was at least up until we started recording today, those were the comments that we got. So thank you all for reaching out. We appreciate it.
Speaking of that,
yes,
you can find us on all the socials at Like Whatever Pod. You can email us and tell us your favorite Christmas movie, ex-Christmas movie, non-Christmas movie, at likewhateverpod@gmail. I forgot there for a second what it was. You can also hit there's like a little button on there that says like send us an email. So you can do that too.
Yes.
What else? I was gonna say there was something else. So you might want to follow us on Facebook because we got some swag. Oh, yeah. And it's coming today, but I am not home, so I don't know if it arrived or not. So keep checking on the Facebook because we're gonna run a little promotional.
We have no idea what it's going to be yet. Well, we know what the swag is. We don't know what the contest is going to be or the promotion. But yeah,
it's going to be. It's a long sleeve T-shirt with a cute little wintry design that I made. So.
Yep.
So if you want to do that, find us on Like Whatever Pod at the Book of Face, Insta and all that. So send us an email, edit it, or don't. Like whatever.
Whatever.
Bye.
Bye.